Hello, I am Michelle Hamilton, and as I mentioned when I did my introduction video to the Decameron, the modern Decameron project, I wanted to present Salman Rushdie's novel, Haroun and the Sea of Stories, which, as I explained, I think is a fantastic story at any time, but one that is particularly appropriate for a project like this because it is a story about storytelling, and it's a story about the value of stories. And this is a 1990 novel by the novelist Salman Rushdie. It's dedicated to his own son, and the hero of the story is a young boy. I imagine him as a tween, Haroun, and the father is a storyteller himself. Let's see. And it begins appropriately for a sort of folk tale or a myth, saying there was once in the country of Alif Bey, a sad city, the saddest of cities. And in the depth of the city, there lived a happy young fellow by the name of Haroun, the only child of the storyteller Rashid Khalifa. Here's an image of the storyteller from the opera, which was created based on the novel in 2001. Haroun has a hard time getting what he thinks to be true information from his father about his father's work. So I picked this quote that describes how Haroun will ask his father where he gets his ideas for his stories. And he says, but whenever he asked his father this most important of questions, the Shah of Blah would narrow his, to tell the truth, slightly bulging eyes and pat his wobbly stomach and stick his thumb between his lips while he made a ridiculous drinking noises, glug, glug, glug. From the great story sea, he'd reply. I drink the warm story waters, and then I feel full of steam. It comes out of an invisible tap installed by one of the water genies, said Rashid with a straight face. You have to be a subscriber. Of this answer frustrates Haroun, who thinks his father is once again just telling him tall tales. The plot is immediately complicated. We are told as readers something went wrong. Maybe the sadness of the city finally crept in through their windows. And what actually goes wrong takes the form of a neighbor, Mr. Sengupta, who has been spending a lot of time with his mother. And when he's there, he will criticize Haroun's father. So here we have a quote from Mr. Sengupta. What are all these stories? Life is not a storybook or a joke shop. All this fun will come to no good. What's the use of stories that aren't even true? What's the use of stories that aren't even true? Haroun couldn't get the terrible question out of his head. And here, I really love the way that Salman Rushdie emphasizes not only the importance of stories, but the ideas in stories. So here, we have, when you listen to songs and you get the song stuck in your head and then it makes like an earworm. Here we have this idea that sort of gets stuck in Haroun's head and it's left to do mischief and to cause problems, which it in fact does. His father, when he comes home and finds his mother gone, is devastated. And he's talking to his son, and here Haroun, when he hears that his father sounds so pathetic, Haroun loses his temper and shouts at him, what's the point of it? What's the use of stories that aren't even true? And then the father, Rashid, hides his face in his hands and weeps. We have this moment where you have a boy who is beginning to look at his parents, at his father in a different way. But you also have the importance of ideas, that ideas matter, right? Here, tragically, right, the criticism of the neighbor. Haroun has leveled it at his father himself. But the novel itself is a vindication of stories. So from this low point, we're then taken on a journey in which Haroun will redeem himself. He will come to appreciate his father's storytelling, and we as readers will get the joy of stories. Haroun, realizes that he's done something terribly wrong, right? My fault again, Haroun thought wretchedly. I started all this off. What's the use of stories that aren't even true? I asked that question and it broke my father's heart. So it's up to me to put things right. Something has to be done. And he does. He accompanies his father to the countryside where his father has been hired to perform, to tell stories to a large crowd. He's been hired by a politician and by a local dignitary. And this local dignitary has a really magical place where he puts Haroun and his father up for the night. And it's this houseboat, which was called the Arabian Nights +1, because as Mr. Bhutto, this local dignitary, boasted, even in all the Arabian Nights, you will never have a night like this. Each of its windows had been cut out in the shape of a fabulous bird, fish, or beast. A rook of Sinbad the Sailor, the whale that swallowed men, a fire-breathing dragon, and so on. The walls were lined with shelves full of leather-bound volumes. Here, for your delectation and edification, is the entire collection of tales known as the ocean of the streams of story. If you ever run out of material, you will find plenty in here. So we have this great reference to the Arabian Nights, or the 1001 Nights, which is Alif Lela Walela, 1,000 nights +1. And Salman Rushdie is playing, using this textual allusion to sort of hint to us, to the readers, about what we're about to encounter, because this is the place, this is the houseboat where the magic will begin to happen. And in fact, the water genie that his father had told him about appears to Haroun, and in fact, what his father told him was true, if we believe that what happens through the rest of the novel actually occurs, or is it just a dream of Haroun? So Rushdie is sort of playing, with magic realism, like what's real, what's not real. But again, I love this story because it's about where stories come from and about the richness of the traditions and all of the cultures that we have. And as someone who loves the Arabian Nights, I teach it in my classes, and I teach Sinbad. I particularly like this story. And I did want to mention that Salman Rushdie in 2015 published a novel called 2 Years, 8 Months, and 28 Nights. And if you do the math, this is 1,001 Nights. So it's this sort of clever allusion again to the 1,001 Nights. So a recurrent theme as far as Rushdie's work. So again, as I mentioned, on this houseboat, Haroun sees a water genie, and then he actually takes a journey with the water journey on the back of a hopo, which is an animal in the Islamic tradition and in stories from the Arabic tradition that has magical powers. So Rushdie describes for us how they all take off. The water genie skipped up onto the windowsill and thence to the hopo's back, and Haroun, with scarcely a moment to reflect on the wisdom of what he was doing, and still wearing his long red nightshirt with the purple patches, followed. As he settled down behind the water genie, the hopo turned its head to inspect him. And I've just put in images from the opera. And you can find a lot of really fantastic adaptations or artwork inspired by this story if you search for it on the web. Haroun, so they journey on the back of the hopo, and they go to a second moon called Kahani, and this is a magical place, and this is where all of the water that the stories that take the form of water comes from. And they journey there, and then Haroun sees that in fact everything his father had told him, that he drank water and that inspired his stories, is true. So here we have the description of Haroun seeing the sea of stories on this moon, which moves so erratically and so quickly that people on Earth have not discovered it yet. Haroun looked into the water and saw it was made up of 1,000,001 different currents, each one a different color, weaving in and out of one another like a liquid tapestry of breathtaking complexity. These were the streams of story. Each colored strand represented and contained a single tale. And I really love this image. I mean, as a medievalist and as someone who trained in folk tales and in narrative, in the history of narrative, and who has examined for so long how one story or one tale can be transformed by across time and across space, across language. I really appreciate the way that Salman Rushdie has created this metaphor for what's going on in storytelling and in the value of stories for us. And so I think Haroun, you know, because he can see it with his own eyes, this sort of fantastical place, comes to appreciate his father. So it's a tale about stories, but it's also a tale about family. And I think that that also is something that really resonates with me. And you have, toward the end of the novel, well, sir, it's like this. All my life I've heard about the wonderful sea of stories and water genies and everything, but I started believing only when I saw If in my bathroom the other night. And now that I've actually come to Kahani, this moon, and seen how beautiful the ocean is with its story streams and colors whose names I don't even know, and its floating gardeners and plenty more fishes and all, well, it turns out I might be too late, because the whole ocean's going to be dead any minute if we don't do something. As I say, I only just started believing in the ocean, but it isn't too late for me to do my own bit. And I also really appreciate Rushdie's sort of call for people to appreciate stories and to participate in stories. And I think that's what it is, right? Like there is something that really enrich our lives in whatever form they take. It doesn't have to be novels. It can be in poems. It can be in music. It can be in film. It can be in any of the different ways that we use to tell stories. So I think that's why I particularly love this this work, and I hope that you get a chance to read it and that you too will like it. All right, thanks. Bye.